Welcome, everybody, to the Almost Daily Dave. It's the 19th of August, 2020. I'm Dave Lamont, and I got a couple of things to go over with you before I depart for the day. And no big dramatic breaking news stuff going on, although it was interesting to see Portland beat the Lakers last night. And I go back to something that was trending on Twitter with Charles Barkley saying he says Portland's going to win the series, number one. Number two, Chuck said that if Portland wins the first game, they will sweep the Lakers. Now, I wasn't up at God knows what time in the morning when that post-game show started and ended, but I wouldn't be surprised knowing the Chuckster that he repeated that about 40 times. And what if he's right? What a terrible end this would be for the Lakers with Davis and LeBron, and man, that would be a disaster for them. And for Portland, Dame Lillard remains a great story. He had only 34 last night, but nevertheless. Meantime, a workmanlike win for the Heat. By the way, the Bucks, the other big timer, they fell behind 0-1 in their series to the Orlando Magic. The only true home team, I guess, in all of this, at least that it's in their city. And that brings me to a story I saw on the Today Show this morning, just a complete TV accident, but actually timely considering the B word, bubble, has come up quite a bit. It's been reported before by other outlets. I think the LA Times was first. I know ESPN has jumped on it. Others have jumped on it. The talk of a postseason Major League Baseball bubble, when you start to trim all of these teams down to 16 this year, and hopefully we don't do that again, then can we bubble this? Can we bubble it from the start? So the first thing you have to think about is obviously where. The second thing you have to think about is weather, because you don't want to put it in Cleveland or Detroit or someplace that could get some kind of freak cold or bizarre winter weather as autumn gets a little thicker. So you want to avoid that. So if you can find a dome stadium, well, there just happens to be one about 35 minutes away from where I live, where the Marlins play, that would be perfect. They can just shut the roof if it's raining or whatever. And if it's nice, and eventually the 105% humidity that we have around here, and that's only a slight exaggeration, will start to fade out, usually right around Christmas time. Anyway, LA is an obvious choice. San Francisco is an obvious choice. Arizona. Now, the problems are, I just mentioned 3 states that are struggling with the virus. So that's the other thing you have to consider. Are those the right places to go? California, Arizona, Florida. On the surface, no question about it. But this is anything but typical, as we are completely aware of. So stay tuned to that. I think the idea is brilliant. You really do want to crown a champion if you're Major League Baseball. You've gone through the ringer a few times already with the Marlins, the Cardinals, a few guys on the Cleveland team that it screwed up and drew the ire of their teammates. You've got the Astros being thrown at, predictably or not predictably, right or wrong. God forbid Fernando Tatis Jr. should try to hit a home run on a 3-0 pitch when his team is ahead. Whoo! Don't do that again. You're aware of that, right? And of course, because it's the unwritten baseball business, the next guy gets thrown at. Now, that's been going on for 100 years. I'm aware of that. But as I get older, instead of getting more old-fashioned and, my golly, that's the way we used to do it, and go find a rocking chair on a porch and smoke a corncob pipe, I find some of this stuff stupid. Really stupid. So Manny Machado gets thrown at. He didn't do anything. He showed up for his scheduled at bat. Still waiting to see Joe Kelly step in the batter's box. That's not happening. So I'm sorry. This stuff, it was great in the old days. Bob Gibson said, he dusts him off the plate. Boy, you can't dig in against old Gibby. Yeah, I know. But it just seems kind of dopey to me. It just does. All right, here's what I really want to talk about. And I know I've spent a lot of time on baseball already. You probably have seen the last few days stories regarding Alex Smith, the quarterback with the Washington Football Club or team, whatever, possibly being able to play. I mean, he's working out. He's practicing with the team. Quick refresher. And I still have never seen the video because, no chance. I'm going to watch this guy's leg be destroyed. So this leg injury was so bad. It was probably worse than Joe Theismann's, and you got to go back to the mid-'80s for that. And if you want to Google that, you go right ahead. I'm out, Tom. Why am I out? I've always been loyal to you. I need a wartime consigliere. Popedjenko, look what I got. Excuse me. So he wants to play. Do you realize that Alex Smith's leg injury was so bad that he almost died from it, from infections? That he had 17 surgeries, that he has to wear a brace for what's called drop foot, and he actually has a hard time moving the foot. But his doctor, the same doctor who, in an article I read in the Washington Post, said, I was really worried he was going to die. That same doctor, she has said it's okay if he plays. Now, how he overcomes this mentally, I'll never know. I would be scared to death going for a walk with my dog or getting on a bicycle or anything, but he wants to play. And depending on how he performs in camp and how Dwayne season, he could play. It actually hurts him to not have a preseason. Well, it's wonderful for the rest of us who actually like football. It's bad for Alex Smith. He needs that practice. He needs to play against people who are going to try to hit him. And by the way, if he does play in a real game, what do you do if you're coming to hit him? Say from the blind side, which is just the best for a linebacker or a D lineman, right? I'm getting a clean shot at the guy that I need to hit hard. Do you hold up a tiny bit when you see the word Smith back there? Or do you go ahead and just say, hey, man, it's football. He's out here for a reason. I'm just going to go right through him. Interesting choice that somebody's going to potentially have to make. But to me, 17 surgeries, couldn't walk for the longest time, nearly died from multiple infection issues, and he could still play. I find that to potentially be the comeback story of this century, and we're only 20 years in. Sure, maybe in 2071, if we're still on this planet, we will have a story like this. But to me, the fact that he is even putting on pads, putting on a helmet, and competing against somebody much younger than him. Don't forget, Alex Smith is no kid. He's in his mid-30s. Joe Theismann's injury ended his career. He went into broadcasting after that. He didn't take the risk. He realized he wasn't the same quarterback. Alex Smith is taking that risk. And I'm not saying Theismann shouldn't have. Hell, I would have walked away. And Joe just had a great broadcasting career. Alex Smith may do that too one day. But I think he wants closure to his, I hate that word, but I think he wants that football career. He wants to go out on his own terms. And if he can't really play and has to retire, well, then he knows he took a shot and he realized, hey, I can't do it. Got to go. Instead of having that nagging thought. And I applaud him for that. I can't imagine having that kind of guts. We all get knocked down, and it is how we get up that defines us, I have been told. And this is certainly tells me a lot about Alex Smith's character. That'll do it for today. Thank you for watching the Almost Daily Dave. I'll throw it up on the YouTubes here shortly. Wish me luck when I go out to hack around the golf course, particularly wish the greenskeepers good wishes in cleaning up after me. Talk to you tomorrow. I'm not sure what time the show's going to run tomorrow, and I've got a good reason for that. Hitting the road for a few days. Yeah. I hear there are these places where these winged aluminum things actually fly through the air at high speeds, and you go inside these things and go places. It's been a while. Talk to you then. See ya.